From headlines to laughter, we're taking it all. Diving deep into topics, we'll rise or we'll fall. Every episode's a journey, a ride through the maze. Join us on this path, let's ignite the blaze. So grab your headphones tight, let's go for a ride. With every spin and twist, we'll couldn't run and hide. The Prime Directive, where the laughter's alive. Society's reflections, let's help each other thrive. Politics and culture, oh what a blend.
I thought it'd be very prescient this week to talk about the writings of this guy that I've studied for a long time. His name is Joseph Campbell, and he was the teacher of George Lucas out in the California school out there. I think it was Santa Monica. I forget where he went to school. UCLA. I think he went to UCLA School of Film, and he was his mythology professor, he talks about like this journey that this archetype, he called it the monomyth, that all people seem to go through. And it's just so interesting to think about like the world we're living in right now. This is a great way, I think, in which to frame ourselves and see about where we fit in this hero's journey. Maybe what we could do is even like inlay, as we're talking, like a picture of this thing. It's a circle, and depending on how complex you want to get it, it can have anywhere from like 11 to 17 different stopping points all along the way of this hero's arc. But it's very interesting. So I hope you don't mind, I'm going to look at my notes just a little bit.
No. Please do, because I did have a chance to briefly see it. So what is your biggest takeaway from that arc?
Biggest takeaway is that we are... Well, this is what I hope, that this is something I teach my kids too, because we examine this as well through film and everything else. The biggest idea is the idea that we're all on it, and every human life form on this planet has been on it, even if you're not even aware of it. That it's everybody goes on this kind of a, he calls it a journey. Now, Alan Watts would say you're not on a journey, right? He would say just be in the here and the now. But this guy, Joseph Campbell, is like, he's coming from the mythological world and the storytelling world, where the characters, whether there be fiction or not, Gilgamesh or the ancient myths of Osiris or any of the Greek myths and stuff, you begin to see these patterns that emerge again and again through time. So it starts off with, and I should show you this particular one that I have that I've researched has got 17 stages. It's the more advanced stuff, but you start out with just like who you are. Just ho-hum Eric, average day Admar, Joe Sixpack, whatever it is. Just even dogs, because the other creatures can go on journeys as well. You're just living your life, and then something happens, and you get this call to the journey, call to the adventure. For us, I honestly feel like it's like when we were getting together and talking about what's going on in the world around here, we've kind of started going on our own version of this thing. I think the Prime Directive we're kind of in a hero's journey kind of a thing. And this podcast is
an adventure.
It is, and we're just starting out. I think so. The next level is like for many people, you have to either choose to go to the call or do you refuse it. And we've chosen to go on it. For a lot of people, they're like, "Screw this! I'm out of here. I'm done. I'm not going to start a podcast. I'm not going to
go through the process.
Go through this and go through the pain and have to rely on people and everything else and go through this huge journey." But we've begun. You know, we're like 20 some odd episodes in on this thing.
Yes.
Which is incredible. I guess most podcasts only make it 5 or something like that or less, and then they're done.
Yeah.
So this is very interesting. So we've decided we're going to heed the call to adventure. And then the next step is you begin building and amassing like your allies. And typically the third step is when you meet your metaphysical, supernatural allies. And they start coming on board. And that's Liesl. That's my wife. She's like this, you're like a supernatural aid that just, you're there. And it's like, all of a sudden, it's like, for Luke Skywalker, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That's right.
He meets him and off he goes. For Harry Potter, it's going to be Dumbledore, right? He meets his mentor and it's his aid and stuff, right? For
Dumbledore?
Dumbledore? No, Dumbledore. Dumbledore. That's it. I'm sorry. For any of one of the historical characters, it could be anybody. This guy Gilgamesh, right? Is his buddy Enkidu? It's his best friend Enkidu.
Best pal.
Just good stuff. Best pal.
Here's a joke. It hurts. Gilgamesh and Dumbledore walk into a bar.
It hurts. Oh, it hurts. Gilgadork and Gumblemesh.
Please excuse us. We're trying to maintain a professional demeanor. As you can tell, we are succeeding.
Oh my God. Oh, freaking A. Oh, what a life. What a life this is. Oh.
You just lost Harry Potter.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Hermione. I'm so sorry. Oh, funny.
Sorry,
Anyway.
Emma Watson.
Emma Watson. No, she's a good actress. Great actress.
Agreed.
So they follow through. I don't know how we cross. So in the circle, you cut the circle in half, and there's the world that you and I are living in, the world of the tactile and the tangible and the realistic. At some point, you cross the threshold, and you go into the supernatural world. So I don't know if we're there yet. I'm not sure.
Great show.
Supernatural? Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Fantastic
Good show.
show.
Yeah, good show. I wonder about us, though. Is this show, have we gone into the supernatural?
I don't know
realm?
about that. Not yet. Things may seem supernatural. Like, sometimes you feel like things are meant to be.
Yeah.
Like the picking of colors. For example, Eric and I are both wearing green today.
See, kind of weird. It's one of those supernatural things.
Yeah.
Didn't plan on it.
We didn't plan on it.
No, here we are.
But
matching.
here we are.
Called you up last night. What you wearing?
Yes, it's my favorite thing in the world.
Twirl my hair. But yeah, so anyway, you continue through the arc. You got to go through all kinds of trials. So maybe we're not there yet because I wonder if we get syndicated or we get picked up or we go viral. That'll probably be when we enter into the supernatural realm.
Yeah, I was going to say, as long as it's not viral like pneumonia viral, I think we are in for a treat.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
we're
I'm
already there.
into the pneumonia stage. But at some point, you do have to face your greatest enemy. So you got to face your greatest fear. And then the story can take a couple different ways, right? You can defeat your enemy and keep going. You can be killed by your enemy and then be resurrected. That's a story arc that goes on again and again. Maybe the story of Christ. Mm-hmm. The stories of, Gilgamesh tries to go defeat death. It's his buddy Enkidu who dies. He can't bring him back. And so, very interesting. So mythology has so many wonderful ways for us to examine ourselves, I think right now. Give us great teachings and trainings about how to make it through this time, how not to make it through this time, how to just ignore certain things, how to just pick your battles, how to tune out certainly from certain things that are just driving you crazy, how to focus on relationships and the tactile things that matter, focus in on the music and the arts and the friendships and the fraternity that really do drive us and make you wake up every day and do better. In my case, a journey for maybe like new employment and stuff like that. For you, a new journey, I know for your personal growth as well. Just you're going through an arc yourself, which is pretty incredible if you think about it for a second and just apply it to your own life. You're in the crucible phase of this arc. Is pretty incredible. So anyway, you keep going through this journey. There's temptations. Some people never leave the temptations because it's so much easier to be tempted and to live into the world of deceptions and whatnot. And you just disappear into that world forever. But then eventually you come out. Most heroes find a way out of the supernatural realm again, many times because they've received special powers or totems because they've gone through all of the struggles and the strifes. They exit back into the not supernatural world, the world we're living in right now. And then they're living in these two realms. You've got the superpowers and knowledge of the previous realm, but you typically come back and become a mentor like a Buddha or Jesus or whatever, but you become a teacher. Ashoka would be one for the Indian people of the past. Ashoka would be this Marian leader who brought Buddhism to India at a time of great upheaval. He battled the Kalinga Empire and stuff. Horrendous stuff going on back then. But he's the guy that after this enormous battle, walking through just rivers of blood, he's the one that says, "I shall put away my sword and never raise it again." So it's very interesting. India has such amazing stories. Many of them are based in history.
Yes.
And other times not. But I never was aware of those things until teaching social studies. It was like, the Bhagavad Gita and
the
Upanishads and the Vedas and the Sanskrit and all that stuff. I'm like, wow, this is really interesting stuff.
Oh, yeah. Do you know that they describe a lot of let's just say a lot of what we would describe as supernatural occurrences that have instances of technologically advanced.
Yeah, I've seen that, like the spaceships or whatever.
The spaceships
launching nuclear
battling
bombs and stuff.
Yes.
Sure. I remember watching all that old time stuff with the ancient aliens and stuff. It's always that, isn't it? It always boils down to the ancient aliens and the Greys trying to probe your butt.
Well, I was gonna say, to quote the movie Paul, how much can I learn from that?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Well, that's true. Anybody want a bagel? Anybody want
a bagel? Bagel. So anyhow, I just think it's such an interesting thing to when you put yourself in that hero's monomyth. And it could be a shiro too, right? Because it doesn't have to be a guy. It could be anybody.
Yeah.
But when you go into that,
person,
you can see that you're not the first to have ever gone through this. You won't be the last. It helps me settle into the idea that it's okay to be brave. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to strike out and just fail 10,000 times before you have a success. It's okay to not know, but to be brave enough to just put that first step forward.
Are you describing like how to date somebody?
It could be. It could be romantic, absolutely. It could be employment driven. It could be a spiritual journey. It could be a journey of just growth and in leadership. It could be going through a trial with a family member who's passing or passed or does pass. Absolutely. It could be an internal mental health crisis that's going on, because I know a lot of people are struggling with the depression. And the supernatural world is that depressive world that you go back and forth into. And so how to make that journey and make your way out again and survive.
Yeah, I think it's interesting you mentioning that. For instance, I know that in Islam they're talking a lot about that journey, that personal battle, all the battles that you're facing, and you're having to deal with those things, kind of like on your own, kind of like that hero's journey. You are having to become or fighting to become a better person.
Yeah.
and going through, those specific stages, which is interesting because how would you apply that to someone who is, say, going through that journey, being in school or in any educational setting? How would you associate those stages with that growth, as it relates to failure, how to overcome it, how to strive to be better, how to sometimes put your best foot forward, knowing that you may not feel the most comfortable with the subject matter and still trying to do better.
It's the road of trials. You've crossed the threshold. You're moving forward into your journey, and then you're just coming up against mad boss after mad boss and mad class after mad class, and you're just having to go back again and again and again to find ways to survive, build your army of allies, go to the totems, use as many resources as you can to resist the temptations to quit, right? The temptation is just, screw this. It's cheaper to just not get through my college education. It's cheaper to just quit. I don't need this crap. But then you haven't unlocked the magic. But then you haven't gotten to the level of the game where you can unlock all these special powers that come with an education. Having that education is it's like a cloak of power for your mind. It protects you from financial predators, people that want to exploit you, but you couldn't see it. It's incredible. They can't protect you from everything, right? But something about that formal education, it gives you a big, big bag of
tools,
weapons and tools and defense armor. And it prepares you in a way for life as a way to think. It doesn't give you necessarily the experience you're going to need. It gives you a way of thinking that will carry with you all the rest of your days you're alive, so that you just aren't susceptible to every trap out there. You're seeing ahead of the game. It's like playing chess. You know the rules. You've already known like a 10 or 12 openings that are great. Just sets you way further ahead than other players who are just figuring out how pieces move, and they're playing checkers and you're playing chess. That's when you go to college, it's like you learn how to play chess. High school would be like checkers,
Right.
And then when you get your experience, then you start becoming like a grandmaster. You begin to see things before they're happening. And other people are like, how are you doing this? You make it look easy. And you're like, well, it's experience and education. It's that beautiful melding together of those things. So Prime Directive might definitely be on your hero's journey. Give yourself time to continue that journey, and a long enough period of time to fail and face trials and face down the demons, defeat them, possibly be killed, but resurrected again and start your next life over, or defeat them and keep going. And then you've got all these incredible talents. The part back that's incredible is called magic flight. You've got these powers. You come back to the world, and then you teach others what it's really like so that they can begin their journey, and they start their journey at an even higher level, and they become like the 2.0. You're the 1.0. They become the 2.0, like your son. Your son is going to become better than the father. That's the hope. That's the dream of teachers and parents, is that the next generation becomes the 2.0, the 3.0, the 10.0. They become the next more better, more version. Advanced, more complete. And I'm not so convinced about like the Ubermensch by Nietzsche and stuff, the Superman. That's not that. It's just that if you look at our evolution, that's what we are as a species. It's how we've survived ice ages, how we've defeated saber-toothed tiger, invented fire, or at least mastered it in some way, developed these microphones, flying into space, and going to these next levels.
So as we close the chapter, lend us your ear. The Prime Directive's calling, so let's pass a beer. to where the laughter's alive. Society's reflections that help each other thrive. Politics and culture.